Well, that's really cool. So I'm holding about the most unique club you'll ever see. This is a signature Mike Austin 1-iron. Right after this, let's take a look at it and see what it can do. Hey, this is Steve from HitItLonger.com, and if you didn't know, I was trained under Mike Austin directly. Mr. 515 hit a 515-yard drive in the 1974 National Senior Open, so it wasn't a long drive competition. He did not have multiple golf balls. He had to put it in play, and he drove the ball about 50 or 60 yards over a 450-yard par 4. So hell of a blast, especially for someone who was about 60 years of age. I'm just be turning 50 next year, and I can't even imagine. That's amazing, phenomenal athlete he was. But he was also a club designer, and man, this is like the most unique thing you'll ever see. I'm going to give you a little closer look at it here. So you see the back, and then here you can see the Mike Austin stamp here. And then looking at the back of it again, you can see there's the initials ODI. And then flipping it around to the front, you can see it's got a very low profile, very shallow club face. Very small, like the old Wilson staffs from the early 70s almost. Very, very intimidating to look down at when you're over the ball. Looking at, you know, the most interesting feature here is, you know, it's in the back of the club here. It's really pretty amazing. Mike Austin didn't really believe in perimeter weighting because he didn't think you should miss-hit the ball. He never really miss-hit the ball. All his hits were right on this. This is I believe a tungsten screw, a tungsten weighted screw that goes in the back of this thing, that actually would serve to bring the center of gravity more towards the center, not down like modern irons. Like they try to, you know, move the center of gravity to where you can pop the ball up a little bit more. Well, he didn't believe in that either. He figured that would give too much lift and too much backspin. It also has a really cool muscle back shape, like you might see in some irons, some blades today. But essentially it's the exact opposite of perimeter weighting, in that the majority of the weight is right behind the ball. So if you miss it out here or low or high, you lose quite a bit of distance and accuracy. But boy, when you get that flush hit, which I'm sure he must have got most of the time, it is just a super feeling, and the ball really, really goes. What I've done is I've just put a standard, it's got just a stiff steel dynamic gold, about a 43-inch shaft, so it's extra long for a 1-iron, might even be 43 and a half, and then just a standard grip on it. Like I said, very intimidating to look down at. I'm not exactly sure what the ODI stands for on the back here. If you have a good guess on what ODI would stand for, hey, leave it down in the comments. Maybe you knew Mike Austin better than I did. Maybe there's some big fans out there that actually have some insight. Let me take a couple cracks at this thing. I think what I'm after here is, I would love to have this be like a 250 club, where if I'm on a, you know, on more of a narrow hole that doesn't require a driver and I just got to get it out there right about 250, then this would be a good weapon. Let me give it a shot. I'm not expecting that much, to be honest with you. Man, that feels good when you hit it on the right on the money. It feels like $1 million. Okay, I beat on that pretty good. Let's take a look. I'm going to put up, as you'll see, the numbers on the screen right next to me here. At 102 miles an hour, I was able to hit the ball 264 yards, 238 in the air. I got a smash factor. That's what I was most interested in, is the smash factor of 1.44. So that'll be the big difference between this and today's technology, with all the, the slots like TaylorMade has on the irons now, and everybody is kind of making the faces trampoline a little bit more now. So I think the most smash I could get out of this club would be about 1.45, and so that's about 5 points of smash short of where a modern, let's say a 1 or a 2 iron would go. I missed it just a groove thin. I think I can get a little bit more distance out of it if I hit it dead flush, get that one last smash point. But I also might be here all night trying, because this sweet spot is really, really tiny. I'm just not good enough to hit this club. I'd have to hit a lot more balls than I do now. Let me get a couple more cracks just for the fun of it though. Let's see if I got any higher smash on that one. Same thing. Got that one to roll out to 261, 1.44 smash. Pretty low spin rate. Boy, it spins, doesn't have a lot of backspin at all. Only 2,200 RPMs of backspin, so it's definitely extremely low spinning, probably because of the design and how the weighting is. Not going to give you a lot of lift, so you'd have to have a swing a lot like Mike Austin, in that you might catch this on a good lie, or you might catch this off a small tee, where you'd actually have the club sweeping through either dead level on its angle of attack, or maybe even upwards a degree or two. So that's probably the shape of swing Mike was making, and the angle of attack. He was probably catching it at the bottom of the arc, or maybe a little bit into the up. Wow, I might get 250 carry out of it. That was really high. Okay, not quite. 238 in the air, rolling out to 263. But you'll see, I'll put the numbers of this one up on the screen. You'll see that I did sweep upwards a little bit on that ball. Finished right in the middle at 263 though. That's an awfully nice tee shot. I would take it all day. I'm gonna stick with the with the more modern long iron for now. To me, looking down at this under any kind of pressure or hitting over water would just make me tend to want to vomit a little bit. It's pretty scary. There's a few of these around, so maybe you've seen one before. I would say I've seen more of these than I've seen flammers. Flammers are incredibly rare, so if you have yours, hang on to it. I get calls from all over the world for the flammer. I am not sure if Mike Austin ever had a patent on this. We did find his flammer patent, but it was from Canada. So at one time he did have a patent on the flammer, but this was might have been just more of a prototype, and maybe I'm not sure exactly how he manufactured. Interestingly, he also had a prototype driver, very, very unique as well. I wish I got a hold of it, but I think it was lost. It had a foil on the back. So I think McGregor Golf came out with a similar driver, I don't know, 10 years ago maybe, and Aaron Badley was in the commercial, and it had a real interesting foil on the back. Hey, if you remember that commercial, anything about that driver, leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you. Mike probably designed that 30, 40 years ago, and I remember hitting the prototype. I mean, it didn't have all the bells and whistles of modern technology, so it was really hard to compare. But Mike certainly was a pioneer, not just in his swing, but you could also see in the club designs. He had some really interesting ideas. Hey, as usual, thanks for joining me for this little trip. I hope to see you in the next video. Thanks.